Where are we going to go next after we've pretty much destroyed?
Where can we go?
There's only one way to go, and that's go into the foreclosure forecast. And so now we're going to rip some more people.
Here we go.
And see if we can't dissuade more people from sending money to K-Beach. All right, Frank. Home inspections. Woo! What are my real concerns?
This is a good topic.
Is it?
It is. I'm excited.
Is it a possible rant topic?
No.
No?
This is an important topic.
Yeah, it's very important.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for an important topic.
Well, what's funny about home inspections is every buyer I've ever had, of course, I encourage them to have. Actually, I insist they have a professional home inspection.
Better word.
That's a good word.
Yeah. So after the home inspection, a home inspector's job is to go in there and honestly scare the bejesus out of you. So you know everything that's going on with this property.
Who came up with that
If you no
word?
longer want to buy the house, he did his job, right?
There you go. No, but they're supposed to go in and come back with a list of everything inside, outside. A good home inspector obviously is going to go under the house if possible. Some homes are on slab; you can't crawl under them.
That is scary.
Well, they do it. They throw on their hazmat stuff. They go under the house. They go in the attic. They're taking an interior, exterior, A through Z checklist view of anything and everything they can find with the property. The problem is that usually they're going to come back with a pretty substantial, lengthy list with some detailed, not easy to understand explanations of issues with the property that usually just frightens the buyers beyond belief. Okay, but when it all comes down to it, there are only a handful of items that really matter. So
once again, here
honestly,
we are again. The entire inspection report. Now, what do they do? Just take the middle things?
No.
They just take the ones in the middle?
If the home inspector says that there's a electric outlet cover that's cracked, now, does that really mean anything? No, but it's on the list.
It's not
and when you
attractive.
see this list of 100 items, because many of the minuscule little things that are wrong with the house, buyers tend to look at that list as a whole and get frightened. But there are only a handful of items that really matter. The most important item, and you want to tell your home inspector to take a real close look at is at the foundation. The structural integrity of the property. Is there any cracking or appear to be any potential slippage? Uh-oh, you just shut me off there, Benny.
Oh, I did?
Is there any potential slippage? We are in California. We do have earthquakes, of course, and the most difficult thing to repair in a house would be if it were to actually slide off of its foundation.
That would be bad.
And there's like slab foundations, right?
I'd want to know that.
Well, even on slab foundations, you want them to look at the exterior, and you can, if you see an abundance of cracked stucco or cracked drywall in the home, that might be an issue. And you might want to elevate it and have a contractor go out and take a look at that point.
I think my aunt has that problem.
Yeah. Also, water damage. Water damage is a big deal because, of course, it often leads to mold. The problem with mold is you might see maybe a 4 or 5 inch section of water damage and mold, but you don't realize that if you yourself were to cut that piece out, you might keep cutting and cutting and cutting until you're ripping out a whole wall. That's a costly repair.
Because what's on the inside of the wall?
Because what's on the inside of the wall. That might only be the visible, exposed portion of it, but you might not know that there's mold and water damage throughout. It could be you might have to rip out all the walls in the house. You never know. That's an important item, too. Also, any utility items. You want to make sure that the plumbing, the electric, and the gas items are all solid. No gas leaks, of course. Plumbing leaks lead to water damage. Plumbing leaks are very expensive. You have pipes burst, pipes under the house especially. You can't see them. It's not like just under the sink when you see a little drip, drip. There might be a major problem. You might have to have your entire piping redone. Very expensive. Electric. Of course, electric panels, you plug 2 or 3 more items in a house at the same time, and you might have everything shoot out. So you really want to check your electric. Gas, of course, always a hazard. Explosions, fires, stuff like that.
So I know, Frank.
You bring a canary into the house just to.
Oh yeah, the canary. I remember that, the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
So you started this off by saying, forget it, Lisa. You're too young. You started off by saying, the guy. It's a full inspection. Blah blah blah. He's in the attic. He's under the house.
Yeah.
Okay, so there may be times when the home inspector comes in and doesn't go under the house and doesn't go into the attic. Do we need to fire that guy? or gal.
You need to insist that he does. Most of the home inspectors, you make sure you go to a licensed bonded inspector. They're on the hook, actually, just like a termite company would be on the hook for about a year or so. If there are items that were obvious and visible and they just straight out missed, you could literally come back and put a claim against them for not really truly, investigating thoroughly.
But I mean, Frank, what happens is in many cases is they go out and they look through home inspectors, and you've got professional home inspector, licensed, certified, $580. Then you've got really good home inspector, pretty good, and might have a number or something, $400. And then you've got Billy Bob Ray Sugar Baby home inspection for $210.
Honestly,
and he comes in and just signs his name.
You should probably get a reference from your agent, because more than likely your agent has had a home inspector regularly work with their client.
Is there some type of organization that home inspectors are a part of to show that they're licensed and bonded?
I believe that their licensing and bonding falls under. I think you can check up just like you would with the general contractors. I'm not sure if they're part of the same organization, but I believe they have to go through that same checklist process.
I think there's some kind of a
certificate.
There's some kind of an agency,
there's some sort of gold badge
that certifies them, and they go to quarterly meetings and yearly meetings, and they get updates on what's changed.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's what I'm trying to get to, I guess, in a long-winded way, is there are extreme differences in home inspectors, and you cannot and probably should never take that lowball price.
No.
Because typically that's Billy Bob Ray, Sugar Baby.
This is an upfront cost that is worth every penny, basically.
Yeah.
Who pays for it, by the way?
The buyer is usually going to pay for that.
And you're going to pay for that up front. So this is kind of what we call, you're not going to pay this at the end of escrow when you transfer all your funds, and this is a cost that you're going to want to be prepared to pay for in the beginning of the escrow. And this is usually happen as soon as you go into escrow, you set up the home inspection.
Yeah, you want to have that home inspection within the first 5 days, if possible.
Right.
Really.
Okay, so you pay for it as the buyer.
Yeah.
And then if you don't want the house, you're just out the $400 or $500.
But it's worth $500
worth
to walk away from $20,000 worth of issues.
That's true. But then you got to do it again, because you're going to obviously move from that house to another house.
But what you have to really think about, you're looking to drop hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's an investment. If you can't spend, what is that, like 0.5%? I mean, where's my calculator? But I mean,
less,
it's even less than that. I mean, it really. Come on. I mean, if you're not willing to drop that, then perhaps you're not prepared.
But all in all, you're going to get a checklist. It's going to be several items long.
Like 100? Is it possible?
It could
to go
be.
to 100?
When I bought my home, there were I think 60 items on the list of supposed errors with the home.
But you take the bottom 10 and the top 10 and you throw them out.
And you go with the middle.
That's right.
Yeah. But don't let it deter you from moving forward on the house if it isn't one of these major items that we talked about. It could be a tiny little a $1 plate cover there, fix here, there. It could be a very, very little going in. Don't let it scare you unless it's a major issue. If it is, then go ahead and put in a request for repair based on a potential hazard or potential deferred maintenance item with the house. It might be something that might trigger the seller to say, if the home inspector, it was so obvious to the home inspector, maybe it will be to the appraiser too, and you're going to call it out and make it a lender repair anyways, and you might be able to get that fixed pretty quickly, or credit.
Hopefully none of this is a surprise. If you're working with a real estate professional, they should explain to you the entire process. This is what's going to happen. This is what we're looking for before you even go into it.
You know, that